Hello there. In Fallout 76, there are over 50 legendary effects for weapons, not including the unique effects on certain weapons, as well as over 50 legendary effects for armor. So today we're going to be selecting the best 5 legendary effects out of all of them for weapons, and the best 5 legendary effects for armor that are just always great to see on your legendary rolls. So let's get into things. And also, just to lay out the methodology behind the madness of the choices here, it's not 5 from each category, being 1st star, 2nd star and 3rd star legendary. It's 5 from all of them, and also the choices have to make sense in most cases. An effect won't always be perfect for every single weapon or build or playstyle, but for the most part these are just great effects regardless of that. So first up, we have anti-armor. Shocking, huh? You thought I was going to start with bloody, didn't you? Admit it. But yes, anti-armor, exceptionally awesome legendary effect because it just gives you a lot of versatility. Whether your overall build is full health or bloodied or halfway, anti-armor will be performing the same regardless. And in terms of bloodied builds, it's very much on par with the bloodied legendary effect, just slightly behind, but you'd only notice that in a certain situation when the health bars are actually big enough for the DPS to show the difference. But in regular play, and if you don't care about absolutely min-maxing your damage, then yeah, anti-armor and bloodied are very much interchangeable. But anti-armor wins here because it doesn't require a certain state for your character to be in, and it also gets another bonus point because in certain unique cases, like the minigun shredder, anti-armor is one of 2 effects that still work, so I'm giving it bonus points for that. But on to the next, we have vampires. When it comes to quality of life effects, Vampires is at the top, healing you as you damage enemies. It's just a great effect to have, and it was a tough choice here between Vampires and Quad, because Vampires is better on your automatic weapons, but it still does work on your slower ones as well, just not as effectively, whereas Quad is a great quality of life effect as well, and can increase your overall DPS in certain situations, and it works great on weapons where the magazines are tiny, but it isn't available on all weapons, and it's not available at all on melee weapons, obviously, so that's why I'm giving it to Vampires. But whether you're a new player or in the endgame, Vampires helps you out. Most never have to worry about stim packs again, you can go into fights knowing you have healing. In endgame activities like your daily ops or events with certain modifiers, Vampires can be key to survival. It's just always nice to have as an option. And on your faster fire rate weapons, your automatic melee weapons, your unique options like minigun shredder, Vampires is just insanely good. Now, moving away from the 1st star effects, we are going on to the 2nd star, and this was tough because again I have to choose something that fits most builds and weapons, and I didn't want to just choose 1st star effects, and there's a lot of good effects here. Personally, I'd go for something like Bashes because I use the shredder 90% of the time, or Vet's hit chance, but those don't work for our requirements here. Explosive bullets and faster fire rate are also great choices, but completely non-existent for your melee weapons. So with all of that taken into account, my choice here is going to be inertial. What is inertial, you may ask? Well, it's replenish AP upon kills, so it works both for your ranged and melee weapons. It makes sense if you're using VATs, it makes sense for power armor users, especially if you're using weapons that drain AP in your power armor. It can be very beneficial. It makes sense on your automatic melee weapon builds, on your shredder builds, so it fits a lot of purposes. So inertial definitely gets my vote here, but if there's a different one that you choose from the 2nd star category that meets the requirements, let me know in the comments. And also, if you're enjoying, nuke that like button and absolutely destroy that subscribe button. Now, from the 3rd star group, this was actually a lot easier than the 2nd star options. First up, 90% reduced weight. This comes in handy on pretty much any weapon, especially commando and rifleman options, because if you haven't noticed, handmaids and fixers can actually get really heavy once they're fully modded up, and they don't have a perk card to help out like heavy gunners or melee weapons do. And if you're not using those perk cards, then of course heavy guns and melee weapons are also taking up quite a bit of carry weight. So 90% reduced weight, definitely a nice option. Plus there is a small change coming to 90% reduced weight in the next update. With that being, it will also affect your mods on your weapon now, not just the base weight. So it's getting even better, so keep that in mind, because that'll take a fully modded fixer down to not just 5 pounds, but to less than a pound. And for my 5th choice, I'm going with Brakes 50% slower. Another quality of life legendary effect. It just comes in handy on any weapon, as well as it can save you 5 perk points in intelligence, so you don't have to use Gunsmith or Makeshift Warrior if you don't want to, because those cards fully maxed out, besides them allowing you to mod your weapons, which you only need when you mod them, so not all the time. They, of course, let your guns or melee weapons break 50% slow, which, hey, is exactly what the legendary effect can do, and it doesn't cost you the perk points, so definitely going to be my choice here. Now, when it comes to armor, this was actually a lot easier for me because generally I think there's slim pickings when it comes to decent options for armor. But first up, my choice here is definitely going to be Unyielding. Now, yes, you have to be bloodied to get its benefits. It's unfortunately not available on power armor, but even though that holds it back in terms of our requirements for my choices here, it's just too good to not include. The amount of ways that it benefits your build overall and your general gameplay overall, there's no other effect that does the same. There just isn't. Boosting all of your special stats besides endurance, which doesn't really matter anyway, it improves all aspects of your game, from your XP gains to your VATS capabilities to your AP usage to dialogue choices for your quests. Unyielding is awesome, my number one pick. Next though, I'm going to go with Overeaters, and this one is available on all armor, including power armor, and you can use it on all of your builds. Bloodied, full health, it doesn't mind. Of course, each piece gives you up to 6% damage reduction based off of your hunger and thirst meters, but if you fill those up, you are an absolute tank with a full Overeater set. It's really awesome for survivability. The rest of the first star effects are extremely specific against one enemy type, or just straight up useless, besides weightless or life-saving, which have their use cases, but overall, Unyielding and Overeaters get my votes here. Over in the second star category, there are two standout options, and first up is AP Refresh. For both regular armor and power armor, AP Refresh is just an awesome perk to have. It's great for many builds, for VATS users, for automatic melee weapon users, because those use AP to attack. For overall quality of life, having your AP come back quicker is just better in every way. So that's my first pick here, and second pick is going to be Hardy, which is receive 7% or less explosive damage. In the past, having something like Fireproof was enough when it came to keeping you alive against enemy explosions, but nowadays they've beefed up their explosive damage, and especially for bloodied builds and in daily ops and events with certain modifiers, explosions can hit really hard. So this legendary effect definitely way more useful than it used to be. And for our final choice, we are going with reduced weapon weights by 20%. There's actually quite a few awesome third star legendary effects when it comes to armor, but I needed something that would work across all of the builds and not be too specific. So definitely giving it to weapon weight reduction. Weapons are heavy. Unless you're smacking things with your fists like an absolute mad lad, you're going to have weapons on your character, so it just makes the most sense. Improved sneaking is also a nice choice here. Your Sentinel and Cavalier options are good as well as your other weight reduction perks, but overall, weapon weight reduction is getting the final vote. But let me know in the comments what you think of the list and if there's others that you'd swap in instead. And remember, they have to work for most builds. I just had to sneak Unyielding in, but again, it's just too good to not. But if you're interested in weapons and underrated weapons, then definitely check out this video. But for now, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.